Today, we're talking about banned football celebrations. Iconic gestures, but also costly ones. Yellow cards, suspensions, record fines, even careers ruined. Some celebrations cross the line. We're going to look at them together, divided into 4 categories: political celebrations, provocations, show-style celebrations, and finally, the ones that literally forced FIFA to change the rules. March 2013, Greek Championship. AEK Athens hosts Varia, a match with nothing special until the 84th minute. Georgios Katidis, a 20-year-old midfielder and former captain of Greece's youth teams, finds the back of the net, a decisive goal. And then, in a fraction of a second, disaster. Instead of running toward his teammates, Katidis turns to the stands, raises his right arm, hand extended. A Nazi salute. The gesture is unmistakable. Cameras catch it instantly. In a country shaken by economic crisis and a rise in far-right movements, the image becomes explosive. The Greek Federation reacts within hours. A lifetime ban from all national teams. AEK Athens, his own club, calls it an unacceptable act and terminates his contract. Katidis tries to defend himself. He says he didn't know what the gesture meant, that he was just pointing at a supporter, but no one believes him. The images speak for themselves. In the span of a minute, he went from one of Greek football's brightest prospects to a complete outcast. A few months later, he was transferred to Serie B. Then, in 2014, he joined Varia and eventually retired in 2019 at just 26 years old. 2018 World Cup Russia, Switzerland versus Serbia, a simple group stage match, at least on paper. On the pitch, 2 nations, but behind them, decades of history, war, and identity. Granit Xhaka and Xherdan Shaqiri, 2 of Switzerland's stars, both have Kosovar roots. Kosovo, a territory long at the heart of a violent conflict with Serbia. In the 52nd minute, Xhaka equalizes with a long-range strike. He runs toward the cameras, crosses his hands, and extends his thumbs, the symbol of the double-headed eagle, the emblem of Albania, brother nation of Kosovo. A few minutes later, Shaqiri scores the winning goal and makes the exact same gesture. The Serbian stands erupt in anger. FIFA immediately opens an investigation. The verdict comes down: a 10,000 Swiss franc fine each for provocative behavior with political connotations. For the federation, the rule is clear: no political expression on the pitch. But for Xhaka and Shaqiri, it was something else. A message of identity, of pride, of revenge, perhaps against a painful history. December 28, 2013, Premier League, West Ham versus West Bromwich Albion. Nicolas Anelka scores a goal, but it's his celebration, not his finish, that will go down in history. The striker runs toward the corner flag, lowers one arm, and places his other hand on his opposite shoulder. A mysterious gesture for English viewers, but instantly recognizable in France, the quenelle, a gesture popularized by French comedian Dieudonné, who has been repeatedly accused of anti-Semitism. Anelka later says it was meant as a tribute to a friend, but the controversy becomes global. In England, the media erupts. The gesture is seen as political, discriminatory, and deeply offensive, especially given that the club's chairman, Jeremy Peace, is of Jewish faith. The English FA investigates for several weeks. The verdict comes down: a 5-match suspension, an £80,000 fine, and an official statement citing serious damage to the image of English football. West Brom offers to let him return on the condition that he issues a public apology. Anelka refuses, saying he wants to keep his integrity, and immediately terminates his contract himself. In 2019, a U19 football match between India and Pakistan. A tense encounter, as it always is, between these 2 rival nations. Since the 1947 partition, India and Pakistan have lived in a state of permanent rivalry, where every sporting clash becomes a form of national revenge. That day, Mohamed Abdullah scores for Pakistan, but instead of a classic celebration, he walks toward the corner flag, calmly sits down, and mimes sipping a cup of tea. The gesture seems harmless, but everyone understands the reference instantly. A few months earlier, an Indian pilot captured by Pakistan had been filmed calmly drinking tea while in captivity. The video went viral and was used by Pakistani media as a symbol of superiority and humiliation toward India. So when Abdullah reenacts that scene during the match, the message is crystal clear: a pure provocation. Indian players protest, the crowd whistles, and the referee steps in immediately. Yellow card for provocation and unsporting behavior. The incident spreads across social media, picked up by major newspapers in both countries. For many Pakistanis, it's patriotic humor. For Indians, it's a national insult. In Italy, football and politics cross paths far more often than people think. But with Paolo Di Canio, that line completely exploded. Early 2000s, Serie A. Di Canio is playing for Lazio, a popular club, but also sadly known for a fringe of far-right ultras, the Curva Nord, and it's precisely toward them that he turns. During a fiery derby against Roma, Di Canio scores. He sprints toward the stands, stops, and raises his right arm, hands stretched out, palm open. The fascist salute, a gesture heavy with history, instantly recognizable. Cameras catch it, photos go worldwide, and the scandal erupts. This isn't a one-time incident. Di Canio repeats the gesture several times in 2004 and in 2005. Each time, the same justification: it's a Roman salute, not political. Italian newspapers put him on the front page. Politicians demand harsh sanctions. The Italian Federation punishes him for provocative behavior, a €10,000 fine, then a one-match suspension. For part of Lazio's fan base, he becomes an icon. For everyone else, a symbol of division and shame. Even after retiring, he never backs down, saying he won't renounce his convictions. April 1999, Anfield. Liverpool hosts Everton in a tense, almost hateful derby. For months, Robbie Fowler, Liverpool's star striker, has been targeted by a torrent of abuse from rival fans. Everton supporters have found a new obsession. They accuse him of taking drugs. Fowler keeps his cool, but everyone can feel he's boiling inside. And that day, in the 15th minute, he snaps. Liverpool earns a penalty. Fowler steps up, stares down the keeper, and scores with ease. But instead of celebrating with his teammates, he kneels down, bends toward the goal line, and mimics snorting cocaine. He literally sniffs the white line on the pitch. The stands explode. Some burst out laughing, others freeze in shock. Within hours, the image is everywhere. Tabloids jump on it, and the FA opens an investigation for degrading behavior and damaging the image of football. The result? A £60,000 fine and a 4-match suspension. Liverpool defends their striker, calling it a humorous response to Everton's provocations. But the Federation wants to make an example. Fowler becomes, despite himself, the face of a bigger debate. How far can a player go to answer provocation? Same setting, same rivalry, but more than a decade later, the Merseyside derby is still as electric as ever. This time, it's October 2012 at Goodison Park, and the spotlight is on Luis Suarez, the most hated player in England at that moment. For weeks, he's been the target of Everton manager David Moyes, who has publicly accused him of being a diver. Great atmosphere already. Everton fans are on fire. Every time Suarez touches the ball, whistles rain down like a storm. So when he scores that day, the Uruguayan striker doesn't hesitate for a single second. He runs straight toward the touchline, and right in front of Everton's bench, he performs a theatrical dive. The stadium explodes. Some fans burst out laughing, others are furious. Even Moyes, frozen on the sidelines. It's probably one of the most famous celebrations of the 21st century. April 2012, Camp Nou, El Clásico, between Real Madrid and Barcelona. The score is 1-1. The tension is at its peak. And, as so often in these matches, it's Cristiano Ronaldo who tips the game. On a pass from Ozil and scores in an icy silence. But instead of bursting with joy, Ronaldo walks toward the Barcelona end, puts a finger to his lips, then gestures for the Camp Nou crowd to calm down. A simple gesture, but incredibly symbolic. Brazil, 2014. São Paulo vs Santos, a match already heated. But this time, the tension isn't between two teams, it's between a player and his own coach. For weeks, manager Muricy Ramalho has been openly criticizing Pato. He calls him too immature, too soft, not focused enough to become again the prodigy he once was at AC Milan. And, of course, Pato hasn't forgotten. So when he scores that day, he walks straight toward the bench, stares, with an ironic smile at the corner of his mouth, and mimes drinking from a baby bottle. A clear gesture. The stadium is split between laughter and discomfort. Ramalho stays frozen, furious. Portsmouth fans always expected a show from Lua Lua, because with him, every goal was a show. He didn't just raise his arms or kiss the badge. No, his thing was a series of backflips. Every goal, A backflip. Every backflip, the stadium exploded, but one day, the celebration went wrong. On a wet pitch, after a decisive goal, Lualua landed badly, a twisted ankle. Result, several weeks out injured, and suddenly, nobody was laughing anymore. His club decided to ban his acrobatics altogether. No more backflips, or you get fined. England, 1998. Newcastle hosts Bolton in a Premier League match with nothing special about it. But that night, Tamori Ketsbaya is about to deliver one of the craziest celebrations the world has ever seen. For weeks, the Georgian midfielder has been boiling inside. He keeps getting subbed off, spends most games on the bench, and feels the frustration building match after match. And then, in the final minutes of this game, the ball falls to him in the box. He shoots. Goal, relief. But what happens next, no one sees coming. Ketsbaya rips off his shirt, sprints toward the advertising boards, and starts kicking them violently, again and again, until his teammates physically drag him away. The crowd is torn between laughter and disbelief, a moment of pure release, where weeks of pent-up frustration erupted into a celebration of pure anger. Manchester, 2011, an explosive derby between United and City, and that day, it's Mario Balotelli who enters the legend. The day before the match, the English press was already having a field day. Balotelli has made headlines again. Fireworks in his bathroom, the Italian player had become a magnet for scandals. So when he opens the scoring at Old Trafford, in front of the entire theater of dreams, he knows exactly what he's going to do. He lifts his shirt and reveals a blue undershirt. Why always me? The crazy genius's answer to the tabloids. A mix of provocation and humor that instantly goes worldwide. The referee, of course, applies the rule: automatic yellow card for a message on a shirt. It all starts in Dortmund in 2014. During a heated derby against Schalke, Aubameyang scores, runs toward the goal, and pulls out from behind the boards a Spider-Man mask. A few months later, he does it again. This time, it's Batman. And later at Arsenal, he pulls out a Black Panther mask. The fans love it. Kids imitate it. But on the official side, the smiles fade quickly. FIFA bans any accessory or costume element during a celebration. And worse, in Dortmund, the Spider-Man mask had a Nike logo, while the club was sponsored by Puma. Result, club fined, sponsor furious, and a formal warning for use of a competing brand. This is probably the most universal celebration in football. The decisive goal, the adrenaline, and that instinctive gesture, ripping off your shirt, holding it up to the crowd, and running bare-chested into history. But since 2004, that gesture has become a footballing crime. Law 12 of the IFAB, the one that governs unsporting behavior, states that removing your shirt after a goal is considered excessive celebration. Result, an automatic yellow card, even if it's the goal of your life. Why this rule? Officially, to prevent chaos. But unofficially, broadcasters and sponsors saw another issue. The cameras were losing the brand on the shirt. And in a football world driven by money, passion should never hide the logo. October 17, 2014, PSG face RC Lens at the Stade de France. In the 55th minute, Edinson Cavani opens the scoring. As always, he celebrates in his own way. 2 fingers pointed to the sky, miming imaginary pistols, a gesture that had become his signature. But this time, referee Nicolas Rainville doesn't see it the same way. He considers the celebration a provocation and shows a yellow card. Cavani protests, tries to explain, but the discussion ends quickly. The referee gives him a second yellow for dissent. El Matador walks off the pitch, stunned. A few days later, in the Champions League against Apoel Nicosia, Cavani scores again, and this time, despite the controversy, he repeats the same pistol gesture, but angles it toward the ground, a way to diffuse the tension without giving up his iconic celebration. 1994. The Premier League discovers a new striker, Jurgen Klinsmann, freshly arrived at Tottenham Hotspur after the World Cup. But even before his first match, the English press had already labeled him diver and professional simulator. So on the day of his debut against Sheffield Wednesday, Klinsmann decides to respond. In the 82nd minute, he scores with a brilliant diving header, and then, instead of running with his arms raised, he takes off, jumps forward, and throws himself flat on the pitch. His teammates join him, performing theatrical dives of their own. The crowd laughs, The press praises the self-irony. That day, he won over English fans, turned mockery into humor, and proved that a bit of self-derision can silence criticism. You've seen it. Every celebration tells a story. Sometimes it's pure joy. Sometimes it's provocation. And you, which one of these celebrations do you think is the most legendary? Tell me in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to stay updated on the next videos coming out. See you soon. Ciao.